Welcome, everybody, to the Season 6 premiere of the Bison Overtime Show. I'm Grant Hubbard alongside Ethan Eiblock, or as you can call us, the Boys of Fall. This show is a collaboration between Bison Information Network and The Spectrum. I'm the editor-in-chief of The Spectrum. Ethan's a sports writer over there. And we're excited to bring you another year of this exciting program. Welcome back, brother. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Bison football's back. It's like Christmas.
Amen, Reverend. So just a couple general notes before we really get into the recap of the Citadel game. A lot of the information people at the Shack and NACU Athletics, they were busy over the last couple of weeks. A lot of new games have been scheduled over the last few weeks. I'll just rattle them off here. 2027 FCS kickoff game, opening in Las Vegas against Montana State at Allegiant Stadium. And we got three more kind of destination games, we'll call it. Mm-hmm. They go to San Antonio to play Incarnate Word. We'll get to them in a second. UC Davis, first time they'll go out to Davis since 2006, and they're Great West Conference foes. And they'll go back to Weber State for the first time since 2014, I want to say. So Davis, Word, and Weber State, those are all home-and-home series. So what do we make of these games here, these destination games?
Well, I think after you win 10 national championships, you're not going to get good FBS games anymore. Yep. You have to schedule these destination games. You have to get good FCS games for not only your playoff resume, but to keep the fans engaged. And I think they did a really good job. These are three storied FCS schools. And then you added Montana State and Vegas in there. I mean, that's going to be packed. Yeah. Montana State's going to bring a lot of people. The Bison should bring a lot of people. I expect a big crowd in 2027.
Yeah, just another... We'll get to it. We'll get to the Word later on in our polls and stuff. But you had a unique opportunity because you've all seen the new gold uniform, the white and gold uniforms that came out. You got to video for it, if I have that right.
Yeah,
so
I got to.
What's your reaction to the gold jerseys? Because the players love them from the initial reactions.
Yeah, well, at first I was helping Christian Dudzik haul in a little ladder into the Fargo. On my look, I'm like, those are the uniforms? I thought it was just going to be a new combo, like all gold, all white, and then like a new, I don't know. I didn't know what to expect, and I saw the gold on the jersey, and I was like, Matt Larson, I mean, not that he's the one who made them and stuff, but they did a good job.
Yeah, they grew on me after. I saw it initially, I don't know, but they do grow on you a little bit. I agree with you on that. I think a white helmet is coming, but as Dom said on his show, it's $100,000 to make 90 white shells, which is that's a pricey expense. Now, all I'm saying is if we can put together $40 million for a facility, I think we can put together 100 G's for helmets. Just saying. Yeah. That's a future item. But the Under Armour partnership as a whole, we saw it last Saturday for the first time, on the field. I think on the field it looks sweet. Yeah. Up close and personal, they don't look as great, but from a distance, I think they look pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think as Bison fans, we're a little like, we don't like change a whole lot, especially when it comes to uniforms, because it doesn't happen very often. Yep. Even when the Klymans last year, when we changed to those other uniforms that had the stripes, I think people didn't like those at first, and then it's been the staple since then, and now we're changing again. I'm sure 3 years from now we'll be saying, like, we don't want them to change again, and they will. Right. It's just how it is.
Right. A lot of changes includes the schedule. We're just going over it fast. They play the Citadel. They're facing Tennessee State on Saturday, and then Southeast Missouri comes in here, and then you get to the Missouri Valley Football Conference part of the schedule. They open with South Dakota. Again, we'll talk about South Dakota when we get down the road in the year. But I was at Media Day. I was talking to a lot of the players, and I asked them, I said, is it more than the conference opener, or is it just another game? And they all told me it's just another game to them, which doesn't surprise me. It's what they're going to say. But I think deep down, it's going to be a code green game, so we win all green. Yep. They're not screwing around when the Yotes come to the Dome early on.
No, you can't lose to South Dakota 3 years in a row in the regular season. That just can't happen. And not to mention, 2 years ago when it happened, you still had South Dakota State and UND on the schedule. Yep. We didn't think they were going to lose to UND. Obviously, they did. You cannot go have a losing record in the Dakotas, and you have to get off to a hot start, especially in conference play. This conference is so tough. And you have Illinois State right around the corner. You have to get off to a hot start in the Valley.
They're the very next game. Then Southern Illinois visits the Dome, and then it's the penitentiary at Indiana State. Yep. And then the marker game on national television, ESPN. Time has not been determined yet, but we're going to assume it's a night kick in Brookings. Yep. And then the games with Youngstown. Then they go to UND. This is the first of back-to-back years where they go to the Alaris Center. The reason being the Bison want the Jacks or UND at home just to even out the schedules a little bit more. The Harvest Bowl with Northern Iowa, and then a non-conference tilt with St. Thomas, who in the near future may become a Missouri Valley Football Conference opponent. We'll see. But I would say the floor is 8-4.
Yeah.
I'd say the ceiling is they go unbeaten, but we expect that every year here. But
Yeah.
I'd say at least 9 wins would be probably the minimum that I think Bison fans would accept.
Yeah, it's not like 2016 where we're going to have 3 one-score games
Right.
away. This is if they had 8 wins, I would be shocked, but that is the floor.
Yes.
Because you have the 3 Dakotas, all losable games. Illinois States, we don't know what they're going to be, but I think from now on, until we get these good non-conference games we talked about, the floor is going to be 8 wins at all times. So it comes down to the Dakota games.
You can't win 12 without winning 1, and then that started on Saturday against the Citadel out in Charleston, South Carolina. Let's roll the highlights when we can, fellas, for the season opener between North Dakota State and the Citadel. This is a game that we thought was going to be a blowout, and it turned out to be. Let's pick it up first quarter. Cole Payton on a third down and 10 picks up 9 yards, just shy of the first down. Then Barika Penn would pick it up on the next play on 4th and short. Bison would end up punting on that drive. Quentin Hayes, Air Force transfer, comes in on a 3rd down and 6, drops the snap, rolls out. Dudenheffer's got him. Logan Kopp, pick 6. Whoops, through the wickets, incomplete. That'll lead to a Citadel punt. Then Barika Penu in the middle, breaks free of a tackle, gets outside. He'll pick up 24 yards for Ravenel will chase him out of bounds. Bison punt on that drive. Quentin Hayes back to pass, gets sacked by Toby and Nene. It's a Nene, not a Nena. A Nene picks up the sack on 3rd and 6. Then 2nd and 6, Cole Payton on the zone read. He'll pick up
Nice
27 yards. Great camera work. This wasn't that we're picking up the SoCon broadcast, so sorry. Drive would stall. Eli Ozick from 31 yards. Into the raindrops. It's good, and it's 3-0 Bison early on. 3rd down and 10 now. Payton on the bootleg. He'll scramble and pick up 12 yards for Bradley Jones will escort him out of bounds. Then back to the design power. Going to be more judicious on when to use Payton. They use him here. He scrambles on a 2nd and 14. He'll pick up 27 yards to get down to the 2-yard line, just short of the end zone. And the next play, when it shows up, Barika Penu, 192 yards just in the first half. Penu will power in for the first Bison touchdown of the season. 10-0 Thundering Herd in the late stages of the first half. They're going to get DJ Scott involved here on the screen pass. Expect more screens from Dan Larson's offense. He'll pick up 19 yards with Tosted out to block for him. Cale Williams will pick up the tackle. Can Cole Payton throw? Let's find out on this 2nd and 5. Here's a rope to Chris Harris down the sideline. He'll get out of bounds, for the first down. You know where I really think he can throw is right here. Rajah Nelson, all 5'9", may have pushed off, but he gets into the end zone. Sam gets there going, wow, touchdown Bison, 17-0 at recess. Pick it up 3rd quarter. Pitch outside, it's dropped by Garrison Johnson Jr. It's on the ground. Kopp gets it down to the 1. Should have had 2 defensive scores. Couldn't quite get in. 2 plays later, Barika Penu, he finds his way back into the end zone. 24-0 Herd. Bison cruising along. 2nd and 4 now. Reese Kessel the Fargo South grad will pick up his first career catch. 31-yard completion. Gets some inside the Citadel red zone. 24-0 game. Shouldn't be too all the geriatrics, right? Well, Cole Payton's going to scramble. Make that Cole Walter Payton with the hurl. Gets just short of the goal line. Leaps over Melvin Ravenel. You've been posterized, my friend. And then Kennesaw State transfer DJ Scott will power it in for the 31-0 lead in the 3rd quarter. But it's not all Bison highlights in this, believe it or not. Quentin Hayes runs the triple option to perfection, ran this at Air Force, picks up a 14-yard run, gets it inside the Bison 20-yard line. And now the video call is going to go to crap here in a minute, but until then, Logan Kopp nails the running back in the back, nails Israel Benjamin on 4th and short. Citadel turned away at the goal line. Then Cortez LeGrant, the Gopher transfer, he'll find a crease, picks up 18 yards. McDaniel with the tackle. Now Nathan Hayes back a quarterback in. He'll hit Bryce Lance on the sideline for a 15-yard reception. Lance had 4 catches for 34 yards in the game. Now Logan Conklin, Minot grad, gets in on the fun. That'll be 16-yard completion. And then Nathan Hayes, 5 of 5 on the drive. The 5th pass to Wilson's Isaiah St. Romain for a 15-yard score. 38-0 Bison was the final score in this game. The Citadel, 122 yards of total offense in the game. Fans being appreciative. And my favorite, we didn't show it in the clips, but the Bison stood at attention while the Citadel sang the alma mater and they retired the flag. It was a really, really cool scene in Charleston. The Bison pick up the win, 1-0 on the season. Tennessee State is the opponent next week. So, general impressions from the game, I would say.
It was, you can basically take the first quarter and wash it out because it was
you can literally wash it out.
Yeah, it was a monsoon. No pun intended.
Right, yeah.
But Cole Payton was awesome. I mean, he went 10 for 16, 192 yards. He rushed for over 100 yards. We'll get to his rushing game later on.
Yep.
But it's Barika Penu's year. That's what I took away from it on offense. And also, Dan Larson, no one's talking about it. Dan Larson called a heck of a game.
Called a great game. 519 yards of total offense. Really, really, really good in that department. It was what we expected to see in game one. Were there going to be some mistakes? Yes. They're breaking. The offensive line is going to be musical chairs for the first couple of weeks, so I understand some of the pre-snap stuff. Tim Pollock's not thrilled about that, but it is what it is moving forward. 25 first downs, 256 rushing yards. They held the Citadel to 100 rushing yards. You can't ask more out of a first. And Elijah Wayne, the young guys had got involved. Isaiah St. Romain caught a touchdown. Elijah Wayne, the guy they flipped from South Dakota State, he looks like a man up there as a true freshman. He looks ridiculously good.
Yep.
They played how we expected them to play for game one. Especially in a foreign environment that is the Citadel. The great teams beat the inferior. That's what they did in week one.
Yeah, and by the way, Elijah Wayne is not getting redshirted. He is going
chance.
He is going to be playing all 12 games and hopefully beyond that. Also, I think Logan Kopp is a legit Buck Buchanan Award finalist. The voters for FCS, like Dom Izzo says, there's probably 15 of them that actually watch the games max. You got to have good stats. Logan Kopp had a turnover in that game. I think he had 2 TFLs. If you put up those numbers week in and week out, you're going to be a finalist for it. And I hope if he's anything like he was in this game, that's like Jabril Cox level.
Oh, geez, yeah. Offensive, defensive players of the week, we'll just go through them fast. We had Cole Payton as the offensive player of the game. 10 of 16 passing, 192 yards, and the touchdown to Rajon Nelson. Ran the ball 11 times for 103 yards. We may not see him run the ball as much moving forward, but 100 yards and 1 hurdle, just so we're clear. On defense, Logan Kopp, 6 solo tackles, including that 2.5 tackles for loss, including the 4th and 1 stop. Had a sack, forced a fumble recovery, and probably should have had a pick 6, but it was wet, Logan. I get it.
Yep.
It's all right. So those are the guys that have to lead moving forward, and they did in this first game.
Yeah, and Logan Kopp, when he dropped that ball, that's when Bryce Lance dropped the ball, that's when I realized, okay, it is pretty wet out there.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I don't think the cameras did it justice. I think the DAY camera showed it a little bit better than what we saw on ESPN Plus, but it is what it is. They got the win. Let's go around the FCS in the Missouri Valley while we're at it. The big marquee game of the FCS for week one was South Dakota State against the varsity Sacramento State Hornets. Stay here, guys. You're better off. The go-go offense was down-and-out offense. 20-3 was the final. If it wasn't for the Jacks stumbling in the red zone a little bit, they had, I think it was 5 or 6 sacks, I want to say. Yep. If it wasn't for that, it easily could have been a 34-3 game because Sacramento State, they got overwhelmed in that game, I think.
Yeah, I think what you can take away from this game, like besides the Sacramento State drama, it's honestly hard to talk about. But for SDSU, they're not going to be explosive on offense, but they are going to run the ball well. Their transfer from Fordham looks like a good running back.
Yep.
Chase Mason looked pretty efficient. Defensively is where I think their strength is going to be. Their front seven looks really good. They did get burned a couple times, but Sacramento didn't do a great job of, showing that because they didn't complete very many passes.
Yes.
But their defense is going to be legit.
The Jacks they're work in progress in the back end, I think.
Yes.
The back end of their defense was a work in progress, I would say, for now. Moving forward, a couple FBS games against Valley foes. Iowa State pounds South Dakota 55-7, and yet they stayed fourth in the polls. We'll get to that in a minute. Kansas State survives against North Dakota 38-35. I was at the lake watching the game, and when UND pulls ahead late, I'm like, there's no way Chris Kleiman's going to lose to a team he beat 34-9 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Eric Schmidt calls the dogs off, and they're just playing prevent defense. If you play the prevent defense, it prevents you from winning.
Yep.
So K-State pulls out the win late. They were dropped out of the top 25 for that performance in the FBS polls. Oklahoma over Illinois State 35-3. That's kind of what I expected. Illinois State loses to every quality opponent, FCS or FBS, it seems. Southern Illinois 49-3 over Thomas More. You know Thomas More. I know Thomas More. I don't think Thomas More is a caliber opponent. They just moved up from Division III. And yet they're what, 14th in the polls? Did I read that right? Yeah, they were 20th heading into the weekend, so you explained that one to me. Northern Iowa over Butler 38-14. Youngstown State over Mercyhurst 24-15. 24-15? Okay. East Tennessee State over Murray State 45-17. It is what it is. ETSU has 2 Division I FBS quarterbacks. As they have Jacoby Criswell from North Carolina and Cade McNamara, who led Michigan to the playoff in 22. So it is what it is for Will Healy and company out there. Indiana State beats McKendree University 41-24. Oregon over Montana State 59-13. I think I don't know if the score does it justice, because I think Montana State looked okay, but you're going against a $20 million roster that is Oregon. So I'm okay with them staying where I think they actually dropped down in the polls to 3rd, but it is what it is. And lastly, my shocker of the weekend here. Presby goes on the road to Macon, Georgia, and beats Mercer 15-10. Mike Jacobs, what are we doing here? It's Presby. Come on, man. So I think that's going to hurt.
Yes.
That UC Davis Mercer game, it's a shame that game didn't get to finish, because we would have known a lot more about Mercer. I think almost, if you're Mike Jacobs, you would have rather had a loss or next to your name instead of a no contest, because now you have no resume and you just lost to Presby.
Yeah, Mercer, that was a team that I thought was built, had building blocks. They came to the Fargo and played a good game.
Yes.
They were just overmatched. That's the thing. And then in the SoCon, it's not very strong, so you can build your way up to the top. And losing this kind of game is just a program, it's going to gut your program.
Yep.
They don't look like a playoff team. They did against Davis for a while.
Yes.
Losing this game is going to really prevent you from getting a top seed. I don't know if they're a playoff team or not. We'll see.
The SoCon's been kind of the flavor of the week the last 6 years. There's been a different conference champion every year the last 6 years. And half the time they end up back in the Fargo Dome for a quarterfinal. So, so we'll see. Maybe it's ETSU this year. Who knows who winds up inside the Fargo Dome. Let's get to we don't vote in the polls, okay? We're college students, for crying out loud. But we'll give you our top 10 anyway, so we'll pull up the graphic when we can behind us. So I'll give you my top 10. Again, we can thank Ethan for the graphics. My headshot looks better than yours, but that is what it is. My top 10, Bison 1, Jacks 2, Montana State 3, South Dakota 4, Tarleton State, we didn't include this, they beat Army in overtime over the weekend in week 0, I believe. So I had them at 5. Illinois State at 6. Montana was off this week. I had them at 7. Davis at 8. Rhode Island is my 9. And Idaho nearly beat the Washington State Jackrabbits, Cougars, in overtime. Washington State won on a late field goal. So that's my top 10, Ethan.
Yeah, my top 10 looks pretty similar, about the same teams. Obviously, the Bison are number 1, defending champs. You go 1-0.
Yep.
I do have Montana State at 2. The Oregon game, I do not care. It's Oregon. That team is probably going to be a top 4 team in FBS. I got the Jacks at 3. South Dakota. Now, you can punish South Dakota for getting pounded by Iowa State, but that wouldn't be fair if I'm not punishing Montana State. So I'm a firm believer of the Dakotas being the top 4. Montana didn't play. People are not going to like that. I think the Montanas and until they prove me wrong, Montanas and Dakotas are going to be the top 5 teams. Tarleton is the one exception to that. I think they will boost themselves into my top 5 this week probably.
Yep.
Illinois State, they're not going to beat anybody good. They're not going to lose to anybody bad.
Yep.
Davis looked okay. They really saved themselves this week when they're down 24-7 to Utah Tech. And then Idaho, obviously, they almost beat the Cougars.
Yep, right. Yep.
And then Lehigh's looked decent. It's not good for the FCS when Lehigh is a top 10 team.
Yeah, they haven't made, I don't remember. The last time they won a playoff game was 2011. They wound up in the Fargo Dome in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
We're going to know more about South Dakota State, Montana State, and Montana in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
Because it's the Gold Rush game for Montana State. They're hosting the Jacks. And then next week, Montana hosts UND. Now, a couple weeks ago, we thought, Montana win that game. I'm not so sure anymore.
Yeah.
If Jerry Kaminsky plays the way UND fans think he can play, it's Jerry World, apparently. Yeah. So if he does that in Missoula, then I can jump. Okay, that game with the Hawks and Bison is going to be a thriller. If UND plays the way they're capable of, if they can play the way they did at Kansas State every week, they're going to be a tough out.
Yep.
Until they win a conference game on the road, though, I still have suspicions.
Yeah, I think there's a clear gap between Kaminsky and Simon Ramfo.
You think?
He elevates it quite a bit. And another thing is, I wouldn't be shocked if Sawyer Seidel is a Kansas State Wildcat next year.
Yeah, yeah. Kleiman likes to poach some Missouri Valley Football Conference guys. Sawyer Seidel may be one of them. Let's get into Tennessee State a little bit. Their Saturday's opponent, playing the game at Nissan Stadium, home of the Tennessee Titans for now. New stadium's being built across the parking lot from Nissan Stadium. So NFL Stadium going to be cool. From what we've seen from what Dom has been telling all of us, I would expect more Bison fans than I would Tennessee State Tiger fans. So that's going to basically be neutral site, road game, call it what you want. It'll almost be a home game for the Bison for this one. So Eddie George, head coach, Titans legend, he departed for Bowling Green over the offseason. They bring in Reggie Barlow, who was last coaching the DC Defenders of the United Football League. Fun fact, the team he left won the UFL championship this year. So, I don't know, do as you will with that. The defensive coordinator, who usually would say, well, who cares? It's Greg Williams, who was a D coordinator for 30-plus years. Go look up some Hard Knocks YouTube highlights. Pull up your popcorn. That's a fun 10-minute watch. He's been a head coach in the NFL. Most notably known for the Saints Bounty Gate scandal in 2009. As Viking fans, we're still bitter. We're not going to talk about that. So the roster was overhauled. This is no longer Tennessee State's. This is not the Eddie George Tennessee State. There is no Karate Brenson catching passes. There is no Sanders Ellis off the edge. This is 80 new guys. They won their opener against North Carolina A&T 24-21. New quarterback Jonathan Palmer is the fella's name. 11 to 21 passing for 123 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. The guy you need to know is Kendrick Rhymes, early candidate for best name in FCS. 21 rushes, 174 yards, and 2 touchdowns, including a 60-yard rushing effort on one play. They got some speed, including Devon Slaughter, true freshman receiver, 4 catches, 102 yards, and 1 touchdown. I get, you're going to say, well, granted, it's North Carolina A&T. I understand that. But at least these guys can present some kind of a passing threat because the Citadel passed for 22 yards last week.
Yeah, I think what you can expect in this game is more offense from your opponent, and the defense is not going to be great. But people forget Tennessee State almost won in Missoula last year, and given Montana, that's probably one of their worst teams in 15 years. Winning in Missoula is hard no matter what. But I would have said this would be borderline a 2-score game if you had that team coming back this year.
Yep.
Not that they were great, but they're building. Eddie George leaves. I see a 45-10 type of game. Yeah,
I called 31-3 all fall camp for Tennessee for the Citadel game. So I don't know what predicted at the end, but I don't know. That's going to be. It's going to be a game the Bison should win by a couple of scores. I just don't know what the score is yet in my head. This is a segment we have to call Ethan's 5 Bold Predictions. So, Ethan Eibach, you have the floor.
Yeah, so I thought I actually texted you this
you did.
Maybe 2 nights before the Citadel game.
Yep.
And, obviously this is filming after the game, but this was before the season started. I predicted the Bison are going to have 2 1,000-yard rushers. So, the Bison usually don't have 1,000-yard rushers, so I feel like this is bold because I think Barika Penna is going to get a chunk of the carries. DJ Scott's going to be in the mix, but I think Barika is going to have 1,000 yards. Who's going to be the other one? Cole Payton. And the Bison haven't done that since I think Trey Lance had 1,000 yards way back in 2019.
I would call it bold because I don't know how many carries he's going to get. Like design quarter, he's going to scramble and do that stuff, but is there going to be a lot of the quarterback replays we just saw? I don't think you're going to see as many of those where they're going to be very judicious on how and when he pulls it.
Yeah, you're not going to see him run 20 times against Indiana State. That's just not going to happen. Yeah. It's almost like Hunter Lipke.
A lot of Cortez LeGrand, I think, in that game against Indiana State.
Yeah, like when we had Hunter Lipke here, when we're playing Western Illinois, you're not going to give him the ball. You're not going to risk him getting injured. That's just not logical.
Right.
Playing the Jackrabbits, UND, the Yotes, he's going to run the ball.
Yeah. Congrats, Hunter, $2.6 million contract with the Cowboys. Your second bold prediction.
Jackson Williams scores 10-plus total touchdowns. So my reasoning behind this, I've been high on Jackson Williams since fall camp of 2024.
Yep.
And he caught one receiving touchdown last year. He had 2 special teams touchdowns. that's where he gets maybe half of them in my mind.
Yeah, he caught. I think the touchdown pass. Correct me if I'm wrong. Even though it's on, I think it was on a 3rd and 20 against Missouri State. It was like desperation heave from Cam.
Yep.
I asked Mike McFeely during camp. I went to almost all but fall camp practices that were open to the media, and I asked Mike. I said, how many catches do you think Jackson Williams is going to have? He said, more than you would think. In Mike's tone. So he wasn't yelling at me in that one anyway. But I agree. He's going to push it. I don't know if he's going to get the plus part, but he could push 10 touchdowns if he has a couple kick returns in there as well. Number 3.
I got the Bison winning all 3 Dakota games, and people might not think this is a bold prediction because, all 3 teams lost a lot of guys, or UND just not expected to be that great before the year. The Bison haven't done this since 2019. 21, they lost to the Jacks. Same thing the year after. 23, they lose to all 3. Last year, they lose to the Yotes. It's been a hump they haven't been able to get over since Trey Lance was here, and I think they do it this year.
This is a tough one because they only get one of them at home, and that's South Dakota. Now, I think they're going to come out off to play that game. I'm not going to say the word in between that. They're going to come out and try to win that game. As they're going to have Tim's not going to say it in the media that we want to beat the out of them, things like that. He's not going to say that. But in the back of the players' minds, they're going to come out ticked off and ready to go on that one. South Dakota State, again, it's a toss-up every year regardless of how good the teams are. You don't know how good South Dakota State is right now. We're going to know on Saturday how good they are. If they go to Bozeman and take it to Montana State, okay, I got to pay attention to South Dakota State.
They're the clear number 2.
If they lose by 10 to 17 points in Bozeman, I'm going to go, okay, I don't know how good they are because Montana State's going to throw the ball more this year. They don't have the horses up front they used to have. They have good running backs, but the offensive line is not as good. And they have better pass catchers, I think, this year than they did last year.
Yeah.
UND, again, if you think the Bison are a really good home team, UND might be the best home team I've ever seen in college football. They don't lose games at home except when they're playing the Jacks when it's hockey season, apparently.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So I think they're going to win at least 2 of them.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to the Jacks. I think it comes down to the Jacks in my mind. Number 4.
I got Eli Ozick breaking the longest field goal record, and the current record's 56. I believe he attempted a 56-yarder against East Tennessee, and it was off by about a football field.
Yeah, but this is really good television. I'm looking at it. We're trying to find the record on while.
But I mean, if you think about if they're playing Youngstown and they want to run a 2-minute drill, we're up by 28 already. Why not send the kicker out there and see what he can do? And in the Fargo Dome, no weather elements. Why not just boot it? Why not?
Correct me. I think the record's 57.
Okay.
I think. I don't know off the top of my head, but you can look that up. But right now, I think the record's 57. Could he break that? I think it's end of half. We're around half court, so to speak. Let's just toss one up and see what happens.
Let's just test his legs, see what he can do.
You just don't want to burn him out like they did in the back half of last year because he was not the same kicker in the back half of last year. Number 5.
I've got the Bison having 5 first-team all-conference members, and I think what makes this bold, you lost Cam Miller, an NFL draft pick, Gray Zabel, a first-round pick. I mean, they return a lot of guys too, but it's not the same team, so I think that's what makes it bold. I've got Cole Payton, I think, is the best quarterback in the Valley. I don't care about Aiden Bellman. He is a statue. Cole Payton's going to rush for a lot of yards. He's going to pass for a lot. I think Logan Kopp is already a lock if he doesn't get hurt.
Right.
I've got Darius Givens being on there. I've got Jackson Dutenheffer and Trent Fraley, and someone to look out for, Keenan Wilson. Yeah,
I would agree with just about all. Again, they may have more. I mean, we don't know how good Nathaniel Staling is. We don't know how good Donovan Woolen is. We just don't know right now. Like, if you look at Donovan Woolen in the dining hall, he's not going to wow you physically. He's 6'4". He's a tall guy, but you put him in pads, he's a totally different guy.
Yeah.
So who knows how good? Maybe this is really out of step. Maybe Anthony Jademe Alfaro has an all-conference season.
Yeah.
Who knows?
We just
don't know. I would probably throw maybe another offensive line. I think because Bo Johnson looked fantastic.
Yeah, I think
against the Citadel as well.
I think everybody on the O-line
or Griffin Empey as well. I think would be one as well.
The whole line played well. Again, the Citadel looked like maybe a 4-win team in the SoCon, but they got a good push up front, something they sometimes don't do against weaker opponents sometimes. Like last year, Mercer was a good team, but the push up front wasn't there.
Yep.
It was there on Saturday.
But again, inferior opponent and all that. I don't think we're going to know a lot more about the buys like everybody kind of knows until South Dakota.
Yes.
Until South Dakota, we just don't know. All the Bison can do right now is beat everybody by 30-plus points, and that will leave the Twitter people at the gate for now, and they won't be overreacting when Cole's throwing a wet football and it's just not coming out of his hand the right way. Like, it's going to happen.
The Twitter people will always be there. You know who you are.
I try not. Again, I'm in the class where I tweet when I need to, not when I want to.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know who can stand there and watch a game. Who can like say you're the TV I'm watching. I can't have my phone right here and have my Twitter app open while watching a game. I can't do that.
No.
I can't tweet and do that. I can't do it.
No, you gotta. My setup is I'm watching the games, commercial breaks. I'm checking to see the rants already.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
And if the Bison are losing, then my phone's put down and I'm just frustrated already. I don't need to watch that, look at that, read that stuff.
Okay, so with this year, we're not playing for a $5 nickel or whatever the paper thing that Kolpak and Izzo play for. We're not doing that. I don't know if we're gonna do a punishment, reward. We'll figure that out when we get on later in the season. We're gonna pick, let's see, 5 games. South Dakota State, Montana State, that's the game in FCS this weekend. Stephen F. Austin against Abilene Christian, Stony Brook and Rhode Island, Wofford and Richmond, and I think the upset special for a lot of people, Purdue and Southern Illinois.
Yep.
So they're right behind us, never mind. So we'll put them right here. So I'm going with Montana State to win at home. I'm going Abilene Christian. They looked really good when they came up here in the second round. I like Rhodey. They're in my top 10. I'm going to keep them there. Wofford had a really bad loss that I don't want to look at, and Richmond didn't look great against Lehigh either. I'm going to stick with my gut and go Richmond. And where we're going to we differ actually on a couple of games, but I'm going to go with Purdue.
Yep.
Now, Purdue won one football game last year. I don't buy into Southern Illinois, okay? They beat Thomas More. I'll make the joke again. You know Thomas More. I know Thomas More. That doesn't impress me. It doesn't. You're playing a Big Ten school on the road. You beat them. I'll give you your flowers. Until then, give me the Boilers. Boiler up at home.
Yeah, I'm going Montana State too. This is not a thing about me not liking the Jackrabbits.
No, they got to prove it.
Yeah, it's the unknowns. Montana State, as much as they're unknown, they have Adam Jones back. They have Julius Davis back too, who hasn't played in about 10 years, but he's still on the team.
He was the folk hero last year we never saw.
Yeah, so. Taco Dowler's still back. But the only team to beat, as far as I know, to win in Bozeman is the Bison against Brent Vegan. We can joke about Vegan not coming up in big games. He doesn't lose at home.
If it was for Casey Couts when they win that game.
Yeah,
so.
He does not lose at home.
No.
So I'm going with the Cats. Stephen F. Austin, Abilene, I think they're both ranked, as far as I know. It's kind of two unknowns. They're going to be high-powered offenses. Abilene really impressed me when they came here. I mean, they lost their quarterback. I think that's a program that's going to keep going, unlike we talked about Mercer, where they're like building and then all of a sudden.
The Texas schools will keep building.
Yeah, the Texas are always, like Tarleton, they're always going to keep going. Stony Brook and Rhode Island. Stony Brook flies under the radar a lot. Rhode Island, for me, is always overrated. So is the entire CAA since JMU left.
Yeah, the conference is a shell of what it once was. I agree with that.
But basically, I don't know. I'm going with Stony Brook. I'm going with my gut.
Okay.
But Wofford, Richmond. I think Richmond lost last week, so I think they're gonna be motivated to win that game. Wofford hasn't been good in a long time. I think.
No.
I think that'll be a pretty easy win for them. And then Purdue and Southern Illinois. Purdue is awful. I don't know.
They're bad, but they're bad, but they're a Big Ten team. You're playing them on the road. This isn't like 07 Gophers bad, but this is pretty close to that. So.
No, so I think Southern Illinois. It's like every other year they're good, and last year they were really not great. Even though the Bison struggled, they always struggle in Carbondale. We're not going to talk about it. Southern Illinois, I think, is going to get back on track. I really think Nick Hill's a good coach. I think they'll be a playoff team. I think they'd bring this home, and I think that's what gets them into the playoffs.
Yeah, check the eligibility on Nick Hill, because the guy looks like he's 16 years old out there. So he's going with the Egyptian hunting dogs to upset the Boilermakers on the road. Show the graphic for next weekend. Playing Tennessee State on the road in Nashville. It's going to be a good one. I don't want to say it's going to be a good one, but I think it's just going to be a game that the Bison will again show who they are, what they're about. They should win this game. I'm going to go, again, just off the top of my head, this seems like I'm going to go 41-10. I was almost right with 31-0, so I'm going to go that. So we're going to go 41-10.
Yeah, it's a destination game. When this gets on YouTube, I'll be in Nashville, so I'm excited to go see the game.
You're lucky, man. I'm stuck here in Fargo.
Yeah,
I'm going to Franklin Lake. It's not all bad, all right?
I'm not trying to brag or anything. I'm just saying, I'm excited. But yeah, I do agree, but
Mr. Big Shot. Going to
I
Nashville.
know I'm pretty lucky with the traveling. But anyway, I said it earlier. I'll try to refrain from saying the scores before the end of the show next week. But I think it's gonna be like 45-10. I'd say the one field goal is like the end of the half, whatever. I think biggest thing these next 2 weeks is stay healthy. Last week they got lucky. Only one guy got hurt in Finn Diggins, and it looks like he's going to play.
He's going to play.
This week.
And Raja had I think his ribs, bruised ribs.
Raja's tough,
he's
though.
good to go
he's
this
always
week.
playing.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a blowout win. I think, like I said, just stay healthy. Cole, please don't hurdle anybody this week. It's cool for the highlight tape.
Yeah.
Don't get yourself killed.
He did it once for the gram, and after that, we're good.
You can do it against the Jacks and the Yotes, UND. That'd be sick.
Go for it.
Do not do it against Tennessee State or SEMO.
Yeah.
Don't get yourself. It's almost that brings me to like when we went from Cam to Cole. It's like going from Brock to Carson. Brock was smart, efficient. He ran when he needed to. Carson, it was like he was trying to get himself killed for the team.
Tasmanian devil.
And that's what I think Cole's going to be. But yeah, hopefully he's a little smarter than that.
Yeah, you know where he's going? He's going there real fast. That's Cole Payton. So next week we will recap the game out in Tennessee State. We'll go through our spiel again. We'll make fun of Incarnate Word for losing to Nichols every week because that's just what we do on this show. And that'll wrap it up for us. So for Ethan Eibach, our guys back in the studio, Henry and Cash, appreciate it, fellas. This has been the Bison Overtime Show. Horns up and go Bison. We'll see you next week.